Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Light on me, thank you very much. Today's episode is the generically named A Christmas Witch, but also appropriately named A Christmas Witch. Christmas, not witches for 2 months ago. This is A Christmas Wish. It is from 2019. It's an hour and 28 minutes long. And so it's not even 5 years old. And it fits into that whole holiday romance movie kind of thing that you get, mostly known for being called Hallmark movie, or the Hallmark Christmas movies, because they tend to just grind out 1,000 of those same plot, same non-threatening white couple characters in bringing together two people in sometimes impossible, sometimes magical situations. It's been people speak of the cliche, the trope where it's the busy woman who is too busy for a relationship, or at least a good one, and has to move out of the big city and go to this small town, or she accidentally ends up in a small town and she meets a guy who wears flannel and probably carries an axe and probably has a beard, possibly, and he's very manly, and then everything changes, falls in love, and now she makes cookies in a store in the middle of nowhere. And that's true love. And it's all because of Christmas. And just because snow is on the ground and it's not covered in pigeon poop, because it's not the city. It's the classic tale as old as time kind of story. This course takes place during Christmas. Yes, there is wishing involved. But yet, surprisingly, it does not follow the trope. In fact, in many ways, it makes fun of the trope. Yes, but believe it or not, when I say I watch these episodes, all these things, now nearly 1,900 episodes, I do. I watch every single thing. Well, I mean, like if it's a series, I only watch like 1 or 2 episodes of the series. I don't watch the entire series. Some things have like 7 seasons. I'm not doing that, especially if it's like a Disney Junior thing. No. But if it's a movie, I watch the whole movie. And yes, there's a lot of these Hallmark Christmas movies in this run. In fact, in order to just get through all the Christmas stuff so I don't watch it in the off season, I'm doing 4 out of the 12. 4 out of the 12 days of Christmas thing are all these types of films. Now, I did say this is a little bit different. Why? Because, well, unfortunately, I guess I shouldn't say unfortunately. Like I said, the trope where it's the woman who moves out of her safe space to fall in love with a man that comes out of nowhere. Isn't the man she's typically used to. Usually she's got a snooty rich boyfriend in the city or something who cheats on her probably and does all sorts of other garbage, and she's not really in love with him. She's just doing it because that's what you do. She's just that's a relationship exists because that's what you got to have at a certain point in your life. What we have here is a young woman right here. She is Faith. And she's grown up in a small town where, and they explain this in the opening sequence of the film, and I'm not spoiling anything, but understand when it comes to these things, odds are if you have no interest in watching them, you're not going to watch them. And if you are the type of person to watch these types of movies, you don't care what anybody thinks. It's just the way it is, and good for you. I tease some people for watching these obsessively, but who cares? My opinion doesn't matter in that case. If you love that, and it's your passion, and you would just have a great time drinking cocoa and eating popcorn while watching these kind of movies, awesome. I do the same thing because I like Star Wars, or the Marvel movies, or Pixar, things like that. And you know what? Don't make fun of me about it. I enjoy it. So what this ends up here is we have Faith, and she lives in a small town, already. She doesn't have to move away from the city or anything. And everybody grows up with this tradition. Around Christmas, there's a box in the center of town near the Christmas tree where you can put a piece of paper in there and write down a little wish, and many times these wishes come true somehow. We find out later, little spoiler here, later that there are people who actually in charge of taking care of those wishes. They open them up and then they distribute them to other people, prominent people in the city, in the town. So it could be just any random neighbor you have who anonymously makes this dream come true. Or maybe not so anonymously. It's actually just a way for the community to do good things for each other. And it's actually a pretty good idea. It would be difficult for some neighborhoods to be able to do that, because depending on how the wealth level is for some people, because some people ask for some pretty outrageous things, some people ask for very simple things. Either way, it's mostly for children. Most of these things are for children, but adults as well. In fact, at one point, there's a 70-year-old librarian who just wishes she could be in a flash mob, and that's a sequence that takes place in one part of the movie. It's not important to the story, but it helps illustrate the good works that the people do for each other and can do it for each other. I imagine there's some wishes that are like, I want to ride on my private plane to Las Vegas and has spent $100,000. Yeah, that's not a wish that somebody's gonna get granted, more than likely. So I want to make sure that I haven't let this sit idle too long. So that's no edits. So what we have here is her and her sister, by the way, Faith and her sister Maddie, were little girls, and they've always put that in as a tradition. That's just sort of background for the greater story. It's not so much about the wishes. well, yeah, okay, yeah, it is. But we're dealing with a woman who is happy in her life. She is an art teacher. She loves teaching kids art, and she's really good at it. She works well with kids. She communicates really well. Played by the way, Hillary Burton. Do you know who Hillary Burton happens to be married to? Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah, she even appeared on The Walking Dead at one point, but as unrecognizable. I recognize her smile, but she shows up in The Walking Dead at one point in a backstory for Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That is a little surprising. Yes, she's Lucille. Spoiler, sorry. Yeah, if you know what The Walking Dead is, and you haven't seen that, well, I've just spoiled that for you. Never mind. What we have here is a woman who is she's not really lonely. She's not looking for a man, but her sister is sort of like, you know what? You need to have true love's first kiss. Almost not true love's first kiss, but true love's kiss by Christmas. Like it's almost like they're living a plot of one of these Hallmark movies, Christmas movies, and she's sort of doing it as a joke. It's for a laugh, doing it for a laugh, but the thing is, she has to be able to put it in the box herself if it's supposed to be for her, even if her sister wrote it. And they just do it, that's silly. And then suddenly, every man she comes across is coming on to her. The hot guy at the coffee shop, well, she saw him before she made the wish, but is he the guy? Maybe, it sounds like the plot for any other movie. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall in love with a hot guy who is in the coffee shop she's at every morning. Or how about the guy who bumps into her at the coffee shop and spills coffee all over her repeatedly on different occasions at different places? What about just any random meet cute she has anywhere? Oh, the neighbor who's just moved in. Yeah, sure, why not? Like, all these things are technically the plots of other Christmas Hallmark movie stories. It's literally, I think, poking fun at each and every one of them. Now, of course, at the same time, you realize that the person she has the most chemistry with is her best friend, played by Tyler Hilton. He's Wyatt, and that's Wyatt. So, what do you think is going to happen here? Even though this, even though this movie is all about bucking the trends and sort of poking fun at the tropes of those types of movies, the best friend is right here on the thumbnail, the background. So, do you think that's going to work out? The best friend who's been by her side the entire time, not the new guy who just happens to be in town for a bit, or spills coffee, or lives next door. All these different things where suddenly, those would be the guy in every other movie. In this case, it's now the best friend who's always been there, who always knows everything. And of course, the people around her realize, her sister, his brother, they all know that he's kind of got a thing for her and that he's probably awesome for her because the way they connect. And honestly, they do connect. They have a really good rapport. Actor-wise, they really go back and forth really well. And that's my really dumb way of explaining acting. But no, they have a great rapport, and it shows. The really weird thing about this is it feels like this is a pilot spin-off from Gilmore Girls. She reminds me of Lorelai, I know, not just the brunette hair and everything else, but they're rapid fire with their delivery. It has a very Gilmore Girls type feel because the story's not just about her. There's these B and C stories that involve her sister bringing home her boyfriend for the first time for Christmas. And do we get to know them better? I mean, does it work out? Why is he not proposing? Is he going to propose? Oh, there's a ring, but he's not proposing. What's going on? And also, there's a storyline with mom and dad. Her and her sister's mom and dad, who dad is a cop, and he's trying to test Maddie's boyfriend's resolve, I guess, trying to connect, and then then mom is in charge of one of the wishes for a young boy, that she's going to let him see a Christmas story performed live on Christmas Eve. But there's deep storylines, and it feels like this should have been like half a season of a show like Gilmore Girls. Like, it feels like they just took like the first 6 to 8 episodes of a series that was shot and then canned. Then they chopped it up, kept all the Christmas parts, and built toward that. If anything, it might be just 3 episodes smashed together. It feels like TV. It's shot almost like TV. And yes, it was on TV. It was, it's not... It was a TV movie. Or it is a TV movie. It's not like it was in theaters or anything else, or on direct-to-video. This, well, maybe it was direct-to-video at some point, but still, it is structured with, normally you do get some B stories with the supporting cast, but usually they're just sort of silly little bits to keep the things moving between the usual drama that happens between the couple that meets, who first hate each other, then they slowly fall in love with each other, then they discover something about each other. One of them discovers something that they don't like, and then they break apart, and then by the third act, the truth is revealed, and then they come back together, true love's kiss, end. And Christmas does it. Santa helps. This is not that. Yes, okay. Yes, there's a true love's kiss at the end. Her and her man come together, but there's just a lot of extra in this. It feels like, again, I feel like it was a TV show. This is, by the way, directed and written by Emily Moss Wilson. So this is a project, personal, kind of a driving force kind of project here by a single writer director here. The cast is great. I mean, they're genuinely likable. Even though you feel that, okay, we're going to get to know Dad now and Mom, they cut short of making us understand more about them, and you feel like, oh well, maybe next episode we'll get to know more about Dad and his cop life. And no, it's a movie. It's an hour and a half. It's barely an hour and a half, and yeah, it's to me it doesn't flow the right way to make this a movie. Understand though, it's the way they edit it together. Yes, it beginning, middle, end, it works. It works, and again, the fact that they choose to sort of play with the trope when eventually they realize that suddenly every guy in town seems to be hitting on her. She thinks it's a wish, and they need to deactivate the wish by unwishing it or doing other means of wishes. Or oh, by the way, the one of the other main things that you usually get in these types of films is some institution is in danger and they must do something, raise funds or speak up about it and change people's minds in order to save that. Well, guess what? It has that too. Faith is, like I said, an art teacher, and right after we watch her take care of a class, her adeptly working with the kids, the principal comes in and goes, hey, by the way, we're cutting the arts program and the music program. We find out later. We're going to put a computer room in here. By the way, we're going to keep you on through the end of the year. It's already like the middle of December, so you got 2 weeks tops, and Christmas is somewhere in between there. And yeah, we looked at it. We did everything we could, but everybody just voted no. We need computers because that's required of us, and that's where we need to spend the money, which, again, it makes sense. It makes sense from a budget's perspective. It's not like an evil land developer is coming in and tearing down the school or something. It is people doing their jobs. But, yeah, it's crushing because she's great at her job, and she should keep teaching. And will it affect the kids? Yeah, it's going to affect the kids. You're going to get the kids involved in helping set things right. You know it's going to happen. There's going to be a car wash? No. It's December. It's not Southern California. It's, but yeah, things change. People work together. She gets bright ideas. These are the kind of things that, yeah. Oh, by the way, there's also like his brother comes to visit out of nowhere. They thought they were going on a cruise, but it was booked for next year. So his brother and his brother's husband and their adopted daughter join them. And okay, apparently they needed a foil for Maddie, the sister, to help out. So this is where I keep saying it feels like this was a bigger thing. And they're just like, okay, we have the pilot and we have some other ideas, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna go with this show. It's a great cast, but we're not gonna go with this show. Okay, we have all this stuff. Let's make a movie. And that's what they did. It feels like that's what they did. I don't know. But yeah, so all these suddenly piles of characters showing up all over, and there's also recurring dudes that just make for funny moments. It's I liked it. I like it so far better than mostly all the other ones. I would like to see these actors in more things. That's the kind of thing that I appreciated about it. But yeah, it's not what you think it's going to be. And yeah, so I say check it out. Definitely check it out. But and it's going to end the way you expect it to end. Once you realize that he's not the gay brother. He's they kind of throw out these indicators that, oh, he's really good with beautiful women and he has a great rapport with her and knows everything about her and knows how to, and I feel like a focus group said, you know what? Is he gay? No, he's the love interest. We need to clarify that earlier on. So, because he actually uses the friend zone line at one point. That's how they started, but they worked really well together. So, I say, yeah, definitely check it out. It doesn't carve the same path as you'd expect most of these movies to go, which is refreshing. And all the characters are likable. There are some contrivances to get things to where they needed to be, but you don't care. And yeah, okay, yes, there is a part where a conflict happens later in the film that pushes our two heroes apart. But that's honesty. It's called honesty. And she's too... Okay, I'm going to spoil this. Because in the middle of the whole thing where her and her sister are trying to get her unwished so that men stop hitting on her, once they, they believe it's a wish that has actually worked. That somehow, even though they know that people in the town help people with their wishes, they somehow think magic has worked suddenly in the real world, and that that they got it. And oh yeah, by the way, there is a magical person in this, which makes you think also that there is probably real magic involved in this. Maybe there is, and she was partially responsible for making all these men suddenly attracted to her. But when he confesses his true feelings for her, after all these months or years they've been together, since he's realized he loves her, she goes, "Oh crap, not you too. Ugh, why would you? You're not going to feel this way. It's all magic." What? You're a grown adult woman. Okay? Just let's pretend for a second there isn't a magical person in the neighborhood that we, the viewers, only suspect is magical. None of them, these people, have any idea there's a magical person amongst them who might be making wishes come true. Doesn't make sense to me. But when somebody she knows and trusts and loves herself, she's extremely close to and knows how he thinks and acts and speaks and would trust him above anybody else in her life beyond her own family, she goes, "Oh no, you've been hypnotized or something by some wish that I made that I shouldn't have made, and it's going to change when we fix it." Really? I mean, first of all, I don't know if I say that out loud, but that's where he goes, "Oh, okay, my feelings aren't real, and what? You believe that the little wish box in the center of town is making dudes, chase after you?" No. So, anyway, I enjoyed this a little bit more, mainly because of the cast. I think she's fantastic. She's real. She comes off as really real. And if I said something bad, I really don't want Jeffrey Dean Morgan to come after me. He only appears... I'm sure he's super nice. He's very intimidating as Negan, and half the other roles he's played that I've seen him in over the years. So yeah, I would check it out. This is not painful to watch, unless you don't like snappy banter between our leads and a family that you wouldn't mind hanging out with, that feels like they were about to get deeper on, and maybe, later season 1 or more season 2, it would have really, oh my gosh, you would have seen so many different dynamics between all these characters. What's the name of the town in Gilmore Girls? Something Hollow, whatever. You feel like it was the next town over. So if you like Gilmore Girls, this might be super appealing to you. I don't know. Anyway, enough about that. Tomorrow we have another episode, and tomorrow this is our short episode. It's not really, it's like 48 minutes, but we are gonna watch, I think, no, we don't have, there's a few more things that relate to this series that I haven't watched yet, but this is a Christmas one, so I'm going to watch it. It is High School Musical, The Holiday Special, the longest title ever. So tomorrow, that's what we're watching. High School Musical, The Holiday Special, featuring Olivia Rodrigo on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.